Have you ever felt that something ancient stirs within you, a force neither soft nor cruel, but alive, waiting to be seen? Carl Jung believed that within every woman lies an untamed current of power, what he called the dark feminine. Not dark because it is evil, but because it is hidden. In the silence of her soul, a woman carries both creation and destruction, tenderness and rage, seduction and silence. She is the keeper of paradox, the embodiment of nature's mystery. For centuries, this power was suppressed, shaped, softened, silenced. Yet beneath the surface of every calm smile, there remains an inner ocean, vast, magnetic, and untouchable. It is this unseen depth that draws others near, not her words or beauty, but the gravity of her presence. The dark feminine is not an act, it is a remembering. Jung wrote that when a woman integrates her shadow, her fears, desires, instincts, and wounds, she becomes whole. And in that wholeness, she awakens something primal in others, a resonance that goes beyond reason. The world tells her to be pleasing, predictable, pure. But her soul whispers otherwise, be real, for authenticity is the true seduction. The dark feminine does not chase, she calls. She does not beg, she embodies. She does not speak loudly, yet the world trembles in her silence. Tonight, we descend into her realm, through shadow and gold, through myth and psychology, to uncover the 7 secret layers of this hidden power, the same energy that Carl Jung believed connects woman to the unconscious soul of humanity itself. The birth of the dark feminine does not happen in sunlight. It begins in shadow, in silence, in the places where a woman's soul grows weary of pretending. For centuries, she was told who to be: gentle, compliant, pure, a reflection polished to please the eyes of others. Yet behind that mask, her true essence waited. Not fragile, not wicked, simply real. Carl Jung believed that the repression of this truth created the female shadow, the part of the psyche buried beneath duty and politeness. Every forced smile, every swallowed word, every act of obedience builds the mask tighter, until one day it cracks. That fracture is not failure. It is the beginning of awakening. The dark feminine rises not in rebellion against men, but against falseness. She removes her mask, one lie at a time, until her eyes see clearly that her softness is power, her silence is wisdom, her sensuality is sacred. In Jungian terms, this is the integration of shadow, the meeting of the conscious and the unconscious self. It is terrifying because it means facing what has been denied: anger, desire, instinct, and truth. Yet from this confrontation, she is reborn. The world may call her dangerous. Jung would call her whole, for only when a woman embraces both her light and her darkness can she command the full spectrum of her being, the power that no mask could ever contain. When a woman first looks into the shadow mirror, she does not see beauty. She sees truth. It is not the reflection the world admires, but the one she has avoided, the woman who feels envy, desire, rage, and longing, the one who dreams of freedom but fears what it might cost. Carl Jung taught that the shadow self is not evil. It is simply everything we are unwilling to see. It holds the power we reject, the voice we silence, the instincts we bury. Yet paradoxically, the more we deny it, the more it rules us from the dark. When a woman dares to meet her shadow, she steps into her own myth, the story no one else can tell. The dark feminine whispers, "Do not fear me, for I am you." In that moment, something ancient awakens. Her laughter becomes deeper, her eyes less afraid. She stops trying to be light all the time and instead becomes whole. The shadow mirror is merciless, but it is also merciful. It reveals the parts of her soul that have waited lifetimes to be acknowledged. Jung believed that consciousness expands through confrontation, not avoidance. The woman who meets her shadow becomes magnetic, not because she tries to be, but because she vibrates with authenticity. Men sense it, women feel it, and the world cannot explain it. It is the radiance born of inner darkness accepted, the divine contradiction at the core of her being. Desire, a word often spoken in whispers, wrapped in shame, misunderstood for centuries. But Carl Jung believed that desire was not sin. It was spirit calling through the body, to feel deeply, to ache, to want. These are not flaws of the feminine soul. They are flames of creation itself. The dark feminine does not deny her longing. She studies it like firelight, watching it dance, watching it burn. For she knows that suppression only breeds distortion, that what is exiled from consciousness returns as obsession, or worse, as emptiness. Desire is the bridge between body and soul, matter and spirit. It is the hidden language through which the unconscious speaks. Jung once wrote that what we repress controls us, what we integrate transforms us. So when a woman honors her desire, not as need, but as energy, she becomes sovereign over herself. She no longer asks permission to feel. She embodies the sacred truth that Eros, the life force, is divine. Her sensuality becomes her prayer, her presence a living ritual. This is the essence of the dark feminine, not to seduce, but to awaken. To remind the world that passion and purity are not enemies, but twin flames of the same eternal source. And as she moves through the world with that inner fire, everything around her begins to respond, not to her body, but to her being. In the depths of her psyche, every woman carries a silent counterpart, her inner masculine, the forgotten twin of her soul. Carl Jung called this energy the animus, the spirit of clarity, strength, and purpose that balances her intuition and feeling. Yet for many, the animus lies asleep, buried beneath centuries of conditioning that told women to be soft, yielding, and small. But the dark feminine knows that without her inner masculine, she remains incomplete, a moon without its sun. When she awakens him, she does not become hardened or cold, she becomes whole. She moves through the world with the grace of water and the direction of fire. Her emotions no longer drown her, they move her, guided by an inner compass that whispers, "You already know." Jung believed that the sacred marriage of opposites within the psyche, the union of anima and animus, births true consciousness. When the feminine and masculine energies within a woman unite, she no longer seeks validation outside herself. She no longer waits for a man to save her, complete her, or define her. She has met her inner king, and through him, she rules her inner world. The dark feminine does not reject the masculine, she transforms it. Every culture has feared her, the woman who knows too much. They called her witch, temptress, heretic. But Carl Jung saw her differently. He recognized her as an ancient archetype. The dark wise woman, the keeper of forbidden knowledge. The witch is not evil. She is the woman who has walked through her own shadows and returned with fire in her hands. She sees beyond illusions, beyond polite lies, beyond the masks people wear to hide their fear of truth. Her power terrifies because it is untamed. It does not beg for approval or fit into the safe boxes society built for her. Jung believed that when a woman represses this part of her, she becomes anxious, restless, and empty. Because the witch is her inner alchemist, the one who turns pain into power, betrayal into insight, and isolation into magic. When she embraces this archetype, she no longer fears being misunderstood. She realizes that not every light is divine, and not every shadow is dangerous. The witch archetype whispers to every woman, "You were never meant to be ordinary." Her wisdom is born not in temples, but in nights of heartbreak and solitude. She listens to the language of dreams, the whispers of the unconscious, the rhythm of the moon. Through her, a woman rediscovers her intuitive intelligence, the same force that guided the priestesses of Delphi, the healers of old, the mystics forgotten by time. To embrace your inner witch is to embrace freedom. It is to remember that you are both the storm and the calm after it. And in that remembrance, you reclaim the magic that was once burned, buried, and broken, yet never truly lost. Every love story has two layers, one that is seen and one that is felt. Carl Jung understood that when two souls meet, they do not fall in love with each other's faces, but with the reflection of what lies buried within. He called this the shadow lover. the figure through whom our unconscious desires come alive. The shadow lover is not the one who completes you. They mirror you. They reveal the hunger, the ache, the unspoken needs that live in the forgotten corridors of your soul. When you fall for them, it feels like destiny. But what you are really meeting is yourself. In every woman, this lover awakens the forbidden, the side she hides from the world. He does not love her mask. He calls forth her chaos. He draws out the wild, the passionate, the unrestrained essence she learned to silence. And though this love may destroy her illusions, it also liberates her from the prison of self-denial. Jung wrote that such encounters are not accidents but initiations, sacred invitations to integrate the shadow. To love the shadow lover is to confront the truth that desire is not sin. It is soul speaking in the language of fire. It is the bridge between darkness and divinity, between instinct and enlightenment. When a woman accepts this truth, she stops chasing the love that consumes her, and instead becomes the love that awakens. Her shadow no longer hunts her in dreams, for she has embraced it, danced with it, and named it as her own. She learns that the most powerful union is not with another person, but with the parts of herself she once feared to love. And from this sacred marriage, a deeper radiance is born, the kind that no obsession can replicate, and no man can ever take away. Carl Jung once said that what we repress becomes our destiny. For the modern woman, the most repressed part of her being is often her sensual power, the magnetic force that draws others not through effort, but through essence. This is the seductress archetype, not the manipulator of men, but the master of energy. She does not seduce through appearance, she seduces through presence. Her voice lingers like perfume, her silence speaks louder than words. Every glance, every movement, is an unspoken reminder that true allure is spiritual, not superficial. The seductress understands polarity, the sacred dance between attraction and restraint, giving and withholding. Her magnetism comes not from seeking attention, but from being deeply rooted in herself. She embodies the paradox of the feminine. She is warmth and distance, softness and danger, grace and mystery. Jung believed that this archetype emerges when a woman integrates her shadow and her light, when she stops apologizing for being powerful, desirable, and divine. The seductress is the alchemist of emotion. She transforms fear into fascination, shame into sacred confidence. Her power is not domination, but invitation, the ability to draw life, love, and energy toward her effortlessly. In her presence, a man feels not conquered, but awakened. He senses something ancient in her gaze, a memory of the goddess, the eternal feminine that stirs the soul and silences the mind. She reminds him of what he has forgotten, that love is not control, but surrender. But to become her, a woman must first face her own reflection, the parts of herself she once hid, thinking they were too much. For the seductress is not learned, she is remembered. She is every woman who has ever dared to own her fire and let it burn without shame. Every creation begins with destruction. Carl Jung taught that before transformation, the psyche must face dissolution, the death of the false self. This is where the destroyer archetype emerges, the dark feminine force that tears down illusions so that the soul may rise in truth. The destroyer is not cruelty, she is clarity. She is the woman who walks away, not because she has stopped caring, but because her spirit refuses to shrink any further. She burns bridges that lead to nowhere, shatters masks that hide her essence, and dismantles stories that no longer serve her becoming. The world calls her heartless, but Jung would call her awakened. For in every woman's journey, there comes a sacred breaking, a necessary chaos that strips away the artificial layers she once mistook for love, beauty, or safety. In that burning, she rediscovers the essence that cannot be destroyed, her eternal self. To embody the destroyer is to become fearless before loss. She no longer clings. She lets the tower fall, knowing that her soul is the foundation beneath the ruins. She no longer seeks validation in being wanted. She finds liberation in being free. The destroyer does not seek revenge. Her justice is silence, her closure is evolution. She walks through endings with fire in her eyes and peace in her heart, whispering, "What was never truly mine cannot be lost." Jung saw this energy as a necessary descent into the unconscious, the nigredo, or the black stage of alchemy. It is here that the soul dies to illusion, so it may resurrect in truth. And when she rises, she is no longer a woman seeking power. She is power itself, born from ashes, sovereign and untamed. After the fire, there is silence. After destruction, there is truth. Carl Jung believed that when a woman has faced her shadow, her desires, her grief, and her fire, she arrives at the final archetype, the lover of the self. This is not vanity, it is resurrection. She no longer seeks love as escape, or validation as proof of worth. Her love is not a performance, it is a state of being. For the first time, she looks into her reflection and does not search for what is missing. She sees herself, whole, radiant, infinite. The lover of the self is the alchemical gold of the psyche, the union of anima and animus, shadow and light, life and death. It is what Jung called individuation, the sacred process of becoming who you truly are. She has met every part of her inner world, the child, the witch, the seductress, the destroyer, and no longer rejects any of them. Each one is a note in her soul's symphony, and together they play the music of her becoming. Now her presence feels different. Stillness surrounds her like a temple. Men are drawn to her not because she promises completion, but because she radiates it. She no longer tries to be unforgettable. She simply is. Her love no longer consumes. It awakens. It does not chase. It chooses. Jung wrote that the true self is both divine and human, a mystery that lives within every woman who dares to meet her depths. The lover of the self embodies this mystery. She has danced with her darkness and embraced her light, not as opposites, but as one eternal rhythm. And now she loves herself, not as a body, not as a role, but as a universe, vast, sacred, and free. Her journey was never about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who she already was. And so, her journey ends where it began, within. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But for the dark feminine, this is not just philosophy, it is initiation. She has descended into the unconscious, faced the serpent, the shadow, the forbidden flame, and emerged not purified, but whole. Each archetype she met was never an enemy, but a mirror. The maiden showed her innocence, the witch gave her wisdom, the shadow lover revealed her hidden desires, the destroyer burned away illusion, and the lover of the self, she crowned her with truth. Now she walks differently. Her steps are silent, yet the ground remembers her. Her gaze does not seek, it summons. Her voice no longer asks to be heard, it commands without words. Jung taught that the unconscious is not chaos, but creation. It is the divine womb of all possibility, and woman, in her essence, is its living symbol. When she integrates her darkness, she does not lose her light. She becomes the dawn itself, both night and sunrise, both death and rebirth. This is the secret Jung hinted at, but never fully spoke. The feminine psyche is not broken, it is mythic. Every woman carries within her the goddess, the storm, the dream. When she awakens, the world shifts, because her energy reshapes reality itself. And to every woman listening, the message is this: do not fear your depths. They are not your weakness, they are your origin. The darkness you avoid holds the gold you seek. Become your own myth. Become the fire that no shadow can extinguish. For when a woman remembers who she is, the universe remembers too.